So guys, just remember on videos like this that I do on the weekends, sometimes I've been day drinking a little too much. Hey guys, hope you're doing amazing. So I haven't done too many cooking videos. I've done my bread baking ones. If you haven't seen those, go check out the sourdough one and the multigrain one. I think they're pretty awesome. And it kind of, especially the sourdough one, it kind of demystifies the whole sourdough making it. So tonight I decided we've got some of our own sausages from our pork. So we made our own sausages. And tonight I'm making some toad in the hole. Or you could basically say bangers mash and Yorkshire pudding. But then again, some people might say that's not real Yorkshire pudding. But guess what? That's what I'm doing. Basically toad in the hole. So I'm taking the sausages. They're gonna go into basically a regular bread pan, you know, those little things you make the bread in, those bread pans. And right now I've got the oven heating up, the oil is in the bread pan, and as soon as that gets up to temperature, I'm going to throw in the sausages. We're going to get them all browned up on the outside. Then we're going to pull it out and add our Yorkshire pudding mix as well as some rosemary. Usually I add fresh rosemary, but right now I've got dried rosemary. So I'm going to throw that in. We're going to use that. We're also going to do some mashed potatoes at the same time, and we're going to do an onion gravy. So the onion gravy is usually red onions, balsamic vinegar, a vegetable stock, but we don't have vegetable stock, so we're going to use beef stock, and we don't have red onions, so we're going to use white onions. Not sure how it's going to turn out, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be okay. So follow along and we'll get going on this. Too is I'll actually stick the recipe down in the description so you have it to refer to if you want to try this yourself. So the mashed potato part is easy. Everyone basically, I think, knows how to make mashed potatoes. I did it with the skin off this time. Sometimes I do it with the skin on. However, our potatoes have been sitting in the basement for a while, so some of them are starting to get eyes. Some of them have started to get soft. So I'm taking some of the bad parts off, so I might as well do it skin off. In the hole, what you want to do is take your bread pan, fill it up with a bit of oil on the bottom. You can use canola oil, sunflower oil, that sort of thing. And the original recipe calls for about ½ an inch on the bottom. I don't use ½ an inch because I find that gets the Yorkshire pudding too oily. So you set the oven at 475, get the oil heated up to a really hot temperature. And then you're going to take your sausages, and once the oil's heated up, we're going to pull that out of the oven, drop in the sausages, and then put it back in the oven for a little bit until they start to brown on the outside. Once that happens, we're going to grab that back out of the oven, and we're going to kind of stand them up in the bread pan and add our batter and add our rosemary to it and then stick it back in the oven. What that'll create is basically your sausages sticking out of the bread pan and the Yorkshire pudding with the rosemary flavor to it. It's so good and I love it so much. I try to do it quite a bit. Guys, so everything's heating up. I just turned on the potatoes, which is our own potatoes for doing our mashed potatoes. We've got our own onions here, obviously not our own beef stock or our fig balsamic, but you know, you can't do everything yourself, right? All right guys, so the oven's at 465. We basically wanted it to get to 475, but we're gonna pull it out now anyway, just because that's the way I work. We're gonna pull it out, we're gonna throw the sausages in, throw it back in the oven and get them all browned up. I also have a pan on the bottom underneath this in the oven, so that way that when this starts splattering and splashing, it doesn't, woo! Ow! Ow! Remember, don't cook bacon naked and don't do this naked. There we go. So like I said, I've got a pan underneath that, so when it starts splashing, the oil starts splashing and splattering, it's not gonna get all over the oven. So guys, just remember on videos like this that I do on the weekends, sometimes I've been day drinking a little too much. So if the video is incoherent at all, or I am, or if you don't understand something, just leave a comment, ask a question, and I'll answer it when I'm not day drinking, okay? All right guys, let's grab the sausages, we'll pull them out, we'll give them a little flip, make sure they're all getting browned. Looking pretty good, still a bit to go though. Get these back in there. All right guys, so the potatoes are boiling, the sausages are browning, but what I just realized is we just used all the milk we had for the Yorkshire pudding. So the mashed potatoes are just gonna get butter. They're not gonna get any milk. Thankfully in spring, we plan on getting the dairy goats, so we'll be able to have our own milk, so we won't have to worry about going to the store all the time for dairy products. Okay guys, so I think it's time to pull the sausages out and add the batter for the Yorkshire pudding. The instructions say to leave them in until they brown up. I've never, in probably 50, 60 times that I've done this recipe, the sausages have never actually browned up while I've done the pre-cook. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna try and stand these up on an end, make them look all pretty. Grab the tongs, we'll stand them up. Usually what I like to do is I just cross them over from one side to the other, like so. This one's kind of saggy and flaccid, so we'll flip it around. Actually, I guess we can do it all the way down, like so. So they're sitting out, sticking out. We're gonna stick our rosemary in. And again, I prefer fresh rosemary, but we don't have any right now, so we're gonna use the dried rosemary. Can probably even steal some of this and stick it down on the other end. And I mean, if it doesn't get all If it stays dry, you can always pick it out later, right? There's no big deal in that. And we're gonna pour our batter over. Get that in there. All right, there we go. So you can see the batter's mixed in. Well, I don't think you can actually see with the view I've got the camera at, but the batter's mixed in now. We've got some oil on top. We got batter over the sausages. Got the rosemary in there. So now we're gonna stick this back in the oven. Now I've got that shut up, and we're not gonna look at it, open the door, nothing, for at least 20 minutes. Because Yorkshire pudding is kind of temperamental. So if you start changing the temperature or start screwing around with it, it might not raise up. So 20 minutes, don't touch it, okay? Okay guys, so sausages are in. We got the potatoes boiling. We're gonna start on our onion gravy. And I like to use lots of butter. Butter's a natural ingredient. It's not like, you know, it's developed in a lab or anything like that. So, pretty sure it's good for you. So we're gonna use lots of butter. All right guys, so for the gravy here, we've got some onions in here, some butter, some fake balsamic vinegar, and some beef broth. Usually we use the vegetable broth, but we didn't have any. But this is smelling and looking pretty good. Okay guys, like I said, butter is good for you, so don't be afraid to throw a bunch in your mashed potatoes. Alright guys, so we got the fan going, the oil's bubbling in the stove, we got smoke in the air. Let me turn that off for a second, I'll show you what's happening in the stove. I think we're all done here. Yeah, we're gonna have to turn the exhaust fan back on, but looks like our sausages and our Yorkshire pudding's done. So we're gonna pull this out and get serving it. Woo! So here's our tray. Basically it's filled up with oil. What I'm gonna do is actually put this right on there as well. It's all smoky. Woohoo! Alright guys, so the amount of smoke in the air is crazy right now. Not sure if you can see that in the video, but it's pretty wild. So what we're gonna do, gonna grab sausage here. We'll grab some of this Yorkshire pudding out. Again, if you want to debate what Yorkshire pudding actually is, we can do that. The rosemary on this adds an amazing flavor. It's just so yummy. So make sure we get lots of that onto the plates. All right, so we've got that done for now. We'll grab our mashed potatoes, get some of that on there. Then we'll grab some of our onion gravy and we'll add that onto the potatoes. Now, you can always do the onion gravy on the side as well. And that way, if people don't like onions or balsamic vinegar or that sort of thing, they can dip into it rather than have it smothered in everything. And there we go guys. Little Yorkshire pudding, little toad in the hole, some mashed potatoes and onion gravy. Oh, this is gonna be great. So again, if you have any questions on how to make this, how to do this, let me know in the comments. and I'll be sure to answer them. Love you guys. Talk to you soon.